Hello, good evening, and welcome to Become a Better Man. My name is Tunde Disu, and thank you for taking the time to join us on today's program. And also, if you've seen a few footage here and there in the past half an hour or so, my son, very kind of, was trying to upgrade me to a higher standard, and I was trying to set up a few new gadgets for me, but we still haven't been able to get it work, but we will do. So for now, we're going to run with the way we used to. So thanks, Ori, I appreciate you. Also, before I start, I want to say happy independence to my country, Nigeria. 60 years since independence, and my prayer is that God will hasten all the hopes, the expectations, and the aspirations of the indigents of that nation, the citizens of Nigeria, that their dreams will come true, their expectations for the country will be realized, and God will give us people who will do the right thing for the sake of the country. Tonight we are going to try and complete the series that we've been doing about apology, about how to say sorry, what it takes to say sorry, why some people are reluctant to say sorry. And last week we were looking at when it is not appropriate for you to receive somebody's apology. Now, I know for some of us who are Christians, the first thing that you're thinking is, that is very unchristianly. How can you say people should not accept apology? Well, if you were part of the program last week, you will understand some of the criteria that we enumerated about when not to accept an apology and how to identify if an apology is truly an apology, or is it just a tool to manipulate you, to bring you under control by the person that is supposedly offering the apologies to you. So tonight, we're going to look at the opposite side of that, which is, now you've tendered your apology. Now you've said sorry. Now you have genuinely, profusely, continuously said you are sorry. And it is very obvious that you've realized your mistakes and you are trying to repair the damage that has caused to the relationship. So you've said you're sorry. But what if the person you're apologizing to refused to accept your apology? What if they said, no, I don't want your sorry. Don't tell me sorry. I'm not interested in your apologies. What then do you do? How do you handle that? How do you process that? Because you and I can relate to that. There's been times in your life and in my life where we come to the realization that we've done something wrong, we've caused harm or disappointed people in our lives. And as a result of that realization, you've now approached them to say, look, I know I got it wrong. I said the wrong thing. I didn't mean it to sound that way, or whatever it is you've done. And so there you are saying, sorry, I am so sorry, it won't happen again, and all of that. And the person looked you straight in the eyes and said, I'm not interested in your apologies. So don't even try it with me. So then what do you do? How do you react? How do you relate? How do you respond in a situation like that? So that's what we'll be looking at tonight. When it comes to accepting apologies, it is for the person who was wronged. It is up to the person who has been hurt, who has been disappointed, who has been wronged. It is up to the person to communicate that their emotions, their feelings are at a point where they can receive such apology. The onus is on them to give you, who is making the apology, who is tendering the apology, you have to take your cue from the person that you're apologizing to, because at the end of the day, it is them that are hurting. it is them that is embarrassed. They are the ones that are feeling less or feeling lost or feeling pain and hurt because of what you've said or what you've done. So they now have to they have to come to a point where they feel their emotions or the part of them that was hurt by your action or inaction is at a place where they can receive an apology from you. But that emotional resolution, that emotional readiness, that emotional preparedness may not be as easy as I'm saying it now. It may not be as clean. It may not be as obvious. It may not. They might not even verbally tell you that they are ready to move on and continue in the relationship, depending on the severity of the pain and the hurt that you've caused them. But even in the midst of that, even while they are processing that, you that have caused the hurt, the wrong, and you that is in the doghouse, for lack of better term, you cannot sit on your blessed assurance. You still have to try. You still have to make effort. You still have to show signs that you are willing, you are committed, you are ready to make it right. What you cannot do is to force your apology on somebody else. You cannot make them accept your apology. And one of the reasons why sometimes people struggle with accepting apologies is not because they're still going through some emotional damage or hurt. Sometimes it's just because of anger, that feeling of disappointment. And sometimes it's just it's a case of pride. I've said you hurt me, so I'm going to stand on that. And sometimes it's just stubbornness. I'm going to make you just grovel for this. I'm not going to even give you the air to apologize. But whatever it is that is making you hold back from accepting somebody's apology, remember, for as long as you're holding it back, for as long as you're not letting it go, it is the relationship that is suffering. It is that relationship, it is that connection, it is that fellowship between the two of you that is suffering. However, there is something worse than that. There is something worse than you just accepting an apology just for the sake of repairing and mending the relationship. It is in fact a bad idea for you to accept an apology when you are not ready, when you are still holding grudge, when you are still feeling the pain, when the wound is still very raw. That's not the time to say, oh, don't worry about it, like we said last week. That's not the time to say, oh, don't worry, it's okay. Because it's not okay. An apology should only be accepted when you've processed the hurt, when you've spoken to yourself, when you've resolved within yourself that it's time to let it go. It's time to move forward. You are ready to take the next step. Because if you are not ready to accept the apology, if you do it to save face, if you do it to please somebody, if you do it for the sake of somebody else, it will run for a while. But you will notice that at different junctions in that relationships, those issues will come up. Don't say that to me because the last time you said that. No, I don't want to go there because the last time we went there, I remember what happened. All of that is you not, it's the pain still raw. It's the healing, the healing process incomplete. So accepting an apology at that point, just to save face, just to carry on, just to reconnect, you are just papering over a cracked wall. And when the dam bursts, it will be worse than it was without the apology accepted. So, it's good to apologize. When you apologize, make sure it is sincere, it is genuine, it's from your heart, it's from a place of remorse. It is good to accept an apology. In fact, it is required, it is expected that you will accept their apology. But don't do it if you are not ready. Don't do it if you are not at a place where you can wholeheartedly receive that person back into your fold, where you can welcome that person well, all is forgiven. And one of the ways to measure whether the fault or the mistake, one of the ways to determine the gravity of the hurt, of the pain, is not just about your emotional feelings. It's not just how it feels or how you're feeling about it. One of the things you can do is to examine, to ask yourself, take your emotion out of the equation, remove your hurting and your pain from, and ask yourself, this issue that is on the table now, was it done maliciously? Or was it just a genuine, common human error or mistake or miscommunication? Because whatever your answer is, will help you in your process of healing. It will either speed up your time of healing, or it will elongate how long it takes you to heal. A sincere apology that comes from the heart of the person with a sense of remorse is worth all its weight in gold. And so when somebody offers that to you, consider it. But in that consideration, don't forget yourself. Ask yourself, this apology that this person is giving, does it sound like they are treating the situation with the respect and the weight that it carries, or are they just throwing it out just because that's what you do when you're in the doghouse? Do they seem like they care about you and how your feeling has been hurt? Or are they just saying they are sorry so that we can move on to the next chapter? Are they treating the situation that has occurred, the incident, are they treating it with a level of disinterest? Or are they trying to force you and press you and push you into receiving their apologies and accepting their and giving them your forgiveness even when you are not ready? It's important that you consider that. Because it is one thing to say, yes, I accept your apology. But it's a different thing for you to go home and be able to look at yourself in the mirror and be happy with the decision you've made. And while it is true that the world can be a very vicious and callous place, while it is true that every step of the way, in every aspect of your life and my life, we must be in a relationship in one form or another. While all of that is true, but don't accept an apology when you're not ready. You will hurt you more. You will hate yourself. The pain will be deeper, will be greater, will be longer than it is necessary. If you need an extra week, an extra day, just for you to get to that point where you are now ready to accept the apology, take that time rather than saying yes now, and for the next 6 months, the issue is still on your mind and bothering you and harassing you and all of that. So, now you've said sorry. Now you've apologized. Now you've sincerely just put your heart, as it were, on the table to show how remorseful you are. And then the person said, I'm not interested. what then do you do? Because, like we said in the first or the second week, apologizing is a very, very difficult thing for a lot of people, all of us to do. Because in order for you to apologize, you have to first of all come to a point where you realize that you've done something wrong. When you recognize that you've put your foot in, and where you value the relationship to be more important and more expensive than your ego, than your what about me ism. So to come to a point of offering an apology, it's a hard work. So whether your apology is like, I'm so sorry, or your apology is like, I beg of you, please forgive me. I realize my errors. I've done this wrong. I shouldn't have said that. That was wrong of me. I should respect you more. I should value our relationship. Whatever way, whichever form your apology has taken, do not fall into the trap that many of us easily just trip ourselves into. And that trap is a trap where you say, I'm apologizing to you. You should say you should accept it. But since I've said sorry, so what next? What else do you want me to do? What else can I do? No. You offer it. It's up to them to accept it. It is up to them to communicate the acceptance to you. And until your offer is accepted, no deal. So what do you do then when your offer is on the pending pile? When your offer is put on the cooler? When your offer is not accepted when you expected it to be? What do you do? How do you respond? How do you react? The first thing you must do is to stay steady. Stay steady. And don't fall into the temptation of taking back your apology when they say it's rejected. You know, and I know, we have done this and we have experienced this being done to us, where you've apologized to somebody and they said no. Or when somebody has apologized to you and you said to them, I'm not interested. One of the temptation, one of the default settings for normal human beings is once the apology is rejected, the next thing is, well, never mind. I wasn't sorry anyway. You apologize for a reason. So while you might feel the hurt and the pain that they've not accepted your apology, while you could be stunned and be shocked that, what do you mean no? How can you say no? I've just apologized to you. While that may be your natural default or response, don't fall into it. Don't fall into it. Hi, Olga. How are you? Thank you so much. Hi, Irene. Don't fall into the temptation of saying, oh, well, if you wouldn't accept it, I'll withdraw my apology anyway. I don't even think you deserve it. If only you know what you've done. No, don't do that. That's the time for you to stay calm and hold your tongue. That's the time for you to not withdraw the offer of the apology. That's the time for you to leave it with them. It demonstrates that your apology is genuine. It demonstrates that you are sincere in your apology. It says to the other person that you actually recognize and you realize what you've done, and you value the relationship so much so you want to make it right. But if you say, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I am deeply, deeply sorry, and they look you straight in the eyes and said, I'm not interested, please don't apologize to me. It doesn't change the way I feel. And your next response is, oh, whatever. I don't even know why I'm apologizing to you anyway. I'll take back my apology. You have not helped the matter. So the first thing you must learn to do when your apology is rejected, don't take it back. Stay calm. Stay cool. Leave the apology on the table with the person. Don't take it back. The second thing is, don't get defensive. Remember, we said to be at a point of apologizing is a hard thing to do. Because it puts you in a very vulnerable place. It exposes you to many things. But you still have to do it because you value the relationship. So when your apology is rejected, don't get defensive. No, don't get defensive. Because you don't know. Maybe the reason the person is not accepting your apology has nothing to even do with you. Maybe they're just having a bad day on their own. Recognize the emotions that they are going through per time at that time. Understand where they are. So rather than flipping and cursing them out and doing all the things that people would normally do, and try to justify why this, yes, I'm apologizing, but wait, if you look at it, really, you started this issue. It was your fault, because if you didn't say what you said, I wouldn't have reached, and on and on. The moment you go down that slippery road into a defensive mode and trying to justify whatever the issue is, you've lost that relationship. Because they are asking themselves, was that really an apology, or did you just want to lord it over me? And that will last longer. That particular issue will last longer with them than the original thing that you did in the first place. So while it is natural for you to feel confused and just shocked that they will reject your apology, resist the temptation to launch a counterattack, to defend yourself, to justify what is going on. That would damage the relationship even more. Number 3, when your apology is rejected, is not accepted, give them space. Give them space. Because the rejection of your apology could be because, like I said at the beginning, they are still processing their emotions and their feelings and their this and their that to come to a point where they are ready to accept you back into the fold. You know the old saying, if you try once and you fail, try again and again. Don't just say, well, I apologized 3 months ago, and if they haven't, that's overwhelmed. No, that's bad attitude. That is bad attitude. Give them space. Okay, if you are not ready, maybe I'll come back. Do you want to give me a time when it will be convenient for you, or when you think you'll be in a position to hear me and maybe receive me better? Don't make it worse by calling them every 5 minutes. I'm still sorry, I'm still saying I'm sorry. Don't keep chasing them around with texts and emojis and this phrase and that picture. No, you're not helping yourself. They all say when you are in a hole, you stop digging. So give them space. Give them time. Let them process the pain to the point where they are ready to accept you back into the fold, to carry on with the relationship should they choose to. Because in some instances, they will accept your apologies and forgive you, but they will tell you this relationship is over. It's within their right. Number 4, when your apology is rejected, what you can do is stop talking. Let your actions speak louder than your voice. Stop talking and start doing. Remember, the reason you are apologizing is probably because you said something wrong, or you've done something wrong, or you haven't said something, or you haven't done something. Identify where the issue is, and then start practically working on correcting that situation. That will speak louder to them. That will go a further distance with them than you to constantly saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. But when they see you, that you are taking practical steps to make amends, to adjust your ways, to change your behaviors, it helps to bring them back to the relationship quicker. Maybe you snapped at your friend. They said something and you just nearly bite their head off. And now you're trying to apologize. Maybe you've said you're sorry and they still haven't received it. Then work on it. Show by demonstration that now you are going to be more patient, you're going to be more compassionate, you're going to be more reasonable, you're not going to just fly off the handle with every little thing. They will see that, and that will register with them more than how many sorries you can say. Step up whatever the issue was that led to the breakdown in the relationship. Show the person that you are sorry, not tell them that you are sorry. Show them by your action that you are sorry. Another thing you can do, revisit the issue. Go back and revisit the issue. After some time has passed, you've given them space, you've given them time, you've shown them by your actions, you have not chased them down the road with every 5 minutes with your phone call. After a while, go back and revisit the issue to say, look, I'm still your friend. We are still friends. Again, I'm sorry for what I said or what I did. Take the inventory of how the relationship is. Determine, does this person seem to have moved forward? Are they in a position where they're ready to move on with the relationship? Determine, does the relationship, is it even worth investing in from your point of view and from their point of view? But don't just leave it forever. Revisit the issue. Retender your apology after you've given them time, after you've given them space, after you've demonstrated by your actions that you are willing, you are committed, and you are already changing. Another thing you must do when your apology is rejected, keep your facial expression neutral. Keep your facial expression neutral. Say you walk up to your friend and you say, look, John, I know you're upset with me. And rightly so, because I was just, that was very unbecoming of me as your friend. I'm sorry. And John said, Tunde, I'm not interested. Please, just leave me alone. And immediately my face just crunch up. Like, what's wrong with you? What's the matter? Even if I've not said anything, my facial expression is saying more than my voice could carry. When you are apologizing, you are usually in a place where you are humble, where you are honest, where you are genuine, where you are remorseful. But when the apology is rejected in your face, the natural tendency is for you to for your walls of defense to go up, for you to question whatever do you think you are. No, that's the wrong thing to do. Because all that will do is to just pour gasoline into the fire. That's the time for you to, in your heart, just count 1 to 10. That's the time for you to hold your thought. That's the time for you to bridle your tongue, as it were. Sometimes, depending on the depth and the value of the relationship that is being affected here, sometimes you feel the sadness that you've done so much damage to the relationship to the point where even your apology is being rejected. For some people, they will just burst out crying. Some people will just really be broken. There's something wrong with all of that. What you must not do is don't beg. Don't beg. Because that could be seen as manipulation. That could be interpreted as you trying to manipulate the person. Don't beg. Don't yell at them. Don't scream at them. Don't shout in their face. Another thing you can do when your apology is rejected is get hold of yourself. Get hold of yourself. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath and just don't avoid doing the expected. The expectation is when you are rejected, you throw tantrum, or you say things, or you react certain way, or no. Now it's not the time to do that. You are in the wrong. Yes, you've offered an apology, but that's your part to offer it. It is the part of the other person to accept it or to reject it. And if they've chosen to reject it, it is within their prerogative to do that. That's the time for you to hold your breath. That's the time for you to just give yourself a big hug so that you don't do something stupid and foolish. Hold your breath, because sometimes it's not what you've said. It's not what you say. It's just your facial expression, the way you react, the way you roll your eyes, the way you throw your head, the way you just stomp away. All of that is saying to the person, yeah, you weren't sorry. You just want to get back in this relationship. Another thing you must do when your apology is rejected, instead of taking it personal, put yourself in the other person's shoes and walk a mile. Put yourself in their shoes and walk a mile. Because while it might not be, it's not a big deal for you. I mean, it's just something very small. I mean, it was just a passing comment. It wasn't meant to be like, don't make a heel out of this. That is your view. That's how you see it. That's how you feel about it. That's your understanding of it. Don't use your words and your actions to nullify and minimize and negate how the other person sees it, how the other person feels about it, how it affects them in their person. Because irrespective of how close the two of you are, you don't feel what they feel. They don't feel what you feel. And so give them that benefit of what they feel and how they feel. Put yourself in their shoes and ask yourself, if the role is reversed, how will I feel? How will I handle this? Even when you've come to a conclusion of how you will feel about it or how you will handle it, it is still not a justification for you to now lord that over them that way. If that's me in that position, this is the way I will react. This is the way I will feel about it. That's you. Don't use that to pressurize or put a demand on them to act the same way you act, to see it the way you see it, to respond the way you respond, because you're two different people. Another thing you can do is to catch them when they're in a lighter mood. Observe them. And when they seem to be in a better mood, just approach them again. Don't leave it simmering and, oh, whatever. Oh, that's what, oh, yeah. No. Don't do that. Unless, of course, you've had enough of the relationship. You just want out. Also, when your apology is rejected, maybe it's time for you to take a break. Take a break. Sometimes, when there's a physical and a geographical distance between friends, between colleagues, between acquaintances, you begin to understand the value that that person brings into your life, the part that that person plays in your life, the role and the responsibility that they carry in your life. You start to see how their absence is affecting the well-being of your relationship. So sometimes you take a break. All right, you feel that way. That's fine. I'll give you time. You got my number. Give me a shout when you feel you're in a position where we can reconnect, where we can relate, where we can take this further, where we can come back and be friends again. But I just want to let you know, irrespective of how long it takes, I will be here. I will be here because I value my friendship with you. I value this relationship. I value you as a person. But I respect you enough to give you the space, the time, the geographical distance, if that is required, that you need to heal from the hurt that I've caused. So these are some of the things you can do when your apology is rejected. It doesn't mean it's the end of the world for the relationship. It doesn't mean you are forever banished from their presence. It doesn't mean that becomes your identity for the rest of your life. No, there are things you can do that will even help to reconcile the two of you, rather than you just battering them and chasing them and hounding them with your apologies. Sometimes it is good for you too to walk away and re-examine not just yourself, but even the relationship. Because sometimes, the old saying, too much familiarity breeds contempt. Because you are in each other's faces, you are in each other's spaces, you are in each other's houses, you could start losing the essence of the relationship. And so sometimes the separation is a good way for both of you to re-examine, reassess the quality of the relationship, to re-examine your place and your role within that relationship. What are some of the takeaways from this whole series? This is the 4th week. What are some of the takeaways? What are some of the things that we must keep and carry with us? One of them is when you've done something, when you've hurt somebody, when you've wronged somebody, when you've disappointed somebody, it is one thing for you to apologize, but it's another thing for you to ask for forgiveness. Apologizing is saying, I recognize what I've done, what I've said, what I've not done, whatever it is that has caused the rift. I recognize it and I take full responsibility for it. Asking for forgiveness, on the other hand, is saying, I value this relationship to the point that I want it to go back to where it was. Give me another chance to prove myself. Give me another avenue to demonstrate what this relationship, this friendship, this whatever it is, what it means to you. You know, as human beings, the natural tendency is for us to be very forgiving. But sometimes the circumstances are just so deep that you have to struggle, that people struggle rather, and find this idea of reconciliation very difficult to do. The other thing about apologies and forgiveness and acceptance is that not even sometimes. Have you noticed that it is often very difficult? It is more difficult for you to forgive somebody that hurt your friend than the person that hurt you. Have you noticed that? Say you are John and Tade are friends, and the two of them have another friend called Israel, and Tade has offended John or hurt John. It is sometimes Israel will be harder on Tade than John will be. He will even be harder on Tade than if Tade had done that thing to him in person. That is what psychologists call the third-party forgiveness effect. The third-party forgiveness effect. And that is because when a friend is hurt, when a friend is hurting, when a friend is in pain, people tend to think there is more to it from the person that caused the hurt or the pain, that they just been malicious, and they just, even though the person hurting may feel, well, okay, maybe that was just an error, that was just this, but the third party is feeling, no, they just been mean and nasty and all of that. And we've all done it. We've all been there. Don't, before you count yourself out. For example, there was an experiment that was conducted where people, a third party, was asked to imagine that his friend's spouse has revealed a secret, a personal secret of the friend that is not supposed to be in public domain. Not his secret. It's a secret of his friend, and his friend's spouse has revealed that secret to another person. And so this person here now started feeling they find it difficult to forgive that spouse, their friend's spouse. When even if that same thing had been done to them by their own spouse, they wouldn't have taken it as hard as it is. And so this third party forgiveness effect, it's something that we all must be aware of, we must all look out for, we must all remember, because this is the route to you taking on another person's fight and fighting it beyond where the person even wanted it to go, or beyond what the person intended. And now the two of them have reconciled, but you are still, as an outsider, still fighting this person, still carrying on forgiveness, still refusing that. No. Why would you accept their apologies? Can't you see what they've done? You say, yeah, but they've apologized. I don't care. I don't care if they've apologized 100 times. That's so wrong. And sometimes you put that your friend in a place where they are caught between a rock and a hard place. Should they follow their heart and forgive this person? Or should they listen to you as a friend and camp out with you in unforgiveness? It is important for us, therefore, to bear that in mind, especially when you are brought in as a third party, as a mediator, as a witness, as a friend of a friend. It is important that you don't make it your fight, make it your issue, make it your pain, make it your unforgiveness. Because all you're doing is you're carrying a load that is not meant for you. Finally, given the importance of apologies, given the place of reconciliation, given the importance of friendship and relationship, everything we've covered in the last 3 or 4 weeks on how to say sorry, why people struggle to say sorry, how to accept and how to give apologies, and when not to accept it. And today we're talking about what to do when your apology is rejected. All of that put together, if we take away a few nuggets from them, it will make our lives and the lives of the people we are in relationships with, it will make this world a better place. Because whether we see it or not, whether we agree to it or not, whether we appreciate it or not, we need one another. No man is an island. None of us can live all by himself or herself. We need one another. And the fact that the two of us are together, it's a platform, it's an avenue to cross one another, to cross each other, to offend, to hurt, to disappoint. But when that happens, there must be a way, there must be another bridge through which we can repair the damage, rebuild the bridge, and move on in our lives to the next level. I hope something that I've said in the last 4 weeks has deposited in your heart and will help you going forward in your relationships, in your personal lives, in your businesses, in your careers, in your family life. Because there is enough trouble in this world. What we need more of is love, is kindness, is togetherness, is peace, is joy, is the ability to move on together so that we can arrive at our destination. Blessing and glory and power and honor. My prayer is this last 4 weeks program will find a settlement in you and I, so that our lives can be better, and so that when people see us, they can truly testify that we are better men and better women. Thank you. God bless you. I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.